Okay, where we last left off, video number 3, this will be video number 4, and it will be on using a Raspberry Pi for home automation. This will be part 4. You can either find this on VidMe or you can find it on YouTube. Wherever you found this one, you can find the previous ones, and in the future I'll be doing more. Where we last left off was just before doing the install of SAMBA. The video was getting too long, so I decided I had to split it up. But yeah, so let's get started. For SAMBA, we are going to want to log into our Pi and type in sudo apt-get install SAMBA. So we'll go to PuTTY, choose our IP. Okay, we're getting a warning. This is the first time that I believe that we've used PuTTY to log into the Pi, so we're getting a warning. So we'll click yes. We'll type in our username, Pi, and then hit the enter key and whatever you may have put in for the password in the past. Okay, so now we will copy in our text, sudo apt-get install SAMBA, and our enter. Press Y and enter. We'll have 2 more steps to do after this, actually technically 3 if you count rebooting the Pi. Doesn't take too long. So we'll go in and we'll preemptively copy the next thing that we'll need, which is the command to enter a configuration file inside SAMBA. We're going to need to edit that file. Sudo nano etc /samba/smb.conf. Press enter. Now to get rid of this, you're going to want to hold down your control button and press the letter K, and that'll delete everything from the file. That's what we want to do. And keep holding them down until it's all gone. And then we'll copy our file. I'll provide a copy of this file down below in the description. We'll want to right click in the area, make sure it's all in there. Guessing there it is, but we can double check it after a bit. So now we will want to exit this configuration file by pressing down Control and then X. It's going to ask us if we want to save it. We'll press Y and then enter. If we want to check it to make sure that it got everything in there, we'll just press our up arrow key to copy the previous text that we had put in there, and then enter. And we can see that everything is in there. It starts off with global. And so we can hit Control X again to just get out of there. And now, after doing that, we want to create a user for that and a password for that. And simultaneously, what we'll do is we'll enter this in sudo smb PASSWD-API. So we'll put that in, and of course we're right clicking after we copied it. Hit enter, and it's going to ask us for our password, for a new password. I'd recommend using the same password that you use, either that or write it down. Hit enter, and it's going to ask you again. And finally hit enter. Now at this point we will want to reboot it. So I'll copy the reboot command, which is just sudo reboot, and enter. Now it'll kill that process as it's rebooting. So we can go ahead and close that. Now for the next thing on my list, I wanted to talk about another way that you can access your Raspberry Pi. It doesn't seem to work with this version of the Pi OS, and seems to work with the older versions. You can, if you do it just in a certain way, you can get it to work on Jessie. This version is Stretch, and it's available right now, and right now the date is November 26, 2017. So if you download the newest version of Stretch, there's a way to get it to work, but it's really tricky. I know that Real VNC Server will work with that, so that's another alternative rather than using remote desktop. So of course it's not going to work with remote desktop, but even if we were to enter in the commands to install XRDP, it causes problems with it. So we're going to skip that, and if something comes in the future that allows that, I will update everybody on that. So right now we're going to install a zip program onto your Pi. You may find it necessary to do that. Download a zip file to your Pi. Okay, so put in our username, enter, password, enter. Okay, so we're going to install zip, and that's just sudo apt-get install zip. Right click in there, select enter. Okay, that's installed. Sometimes it'll take a little bit for the SAMBA to start working. We'll check to see if that's working or not. So if we go down to our network, and we can see Jacob PI. Now I guess I should have mentioned this earlier. On the script that I had you copy, under netbios name it says Jacob's PC. Now you can change that either before you put it in or after you get it in, by simply, like if you go to PuTTY, open it up, put in your username and password, and then of course the configuration, to open up the configuration file. Okay, and then here, now you'd use your arrow keys and you just arrow down and then arrow over, and you can change this just hitting backspace and then typing in whatever you want. And then of course you'd hit Control X to get out, and then Y will save the changes. In this case I'm going to press no and get out of there because I want to keep it as that. So let's see if we can get in. I like it this way because I've got it set up so you can get into the HOMEPI or the home, so you can see all the directories. So if you want to move, say, something from your PC over to your Pi, you just drag and drop it. So let's say I want to copy something from my downloads. If there's a certain file or something that'll work in, you could just drag and then go over there and then HOMEPI and then just drop it in there or copy it in there. So that's another way. And another thing that you will want to install, so if you want to edit files inside a Pi, something that, and then you're going to need to use this in the future. So you'll want to download Notepad++. It's a really good program. It's the best that I've found for editing stuff. So you can edit files, and there will be files that you'll need to edit in the future when we go on with other videos. To find that, you just go to your search area, whatever search area you want, and just type in Notepad. Oops. And then look for their website. Make sure it is their website and not somebody else's. In this case, Notepad++ home. And you'll see in the URL https://notepad++org. You can see here's a URL over here. So if you go in there, you will want to download. So they have it available for if you're using Windows, if you're using Mac OS. So under the downloads, you've got the about. It gives you a pretty good. You know that it's legitimate if you see this. So going to downloads, this first one is the one that works for me. So it says take this one if you have no idea which one you should take. But they've got it in a zip, different versions. So that is that.